China cautions students on U.S. study plans amid policy strains. Amid growing trade frictions and new legislative restrictions in Ohio, Beijing urges students to weigh risks before pursuing education in certain U.S. states. Beijing has issued a cautious advisory to Chinese students considering studying in the United States, advising them to carefully evaluate safety concerns and local laws, especially in light of new restrictions passed in states like Ohio. The announcement comes amid intensifying tensions between the two economic powers. Released on April 9th, the statement encourages students to assess safety risks and raise awareness about regulatory developments in specific U.S. regions. It references a recent law in Ohio that curtails cooperation between its public universities and Chinese institutions, limiting donations and enforcing stricter vetting procedures. Despite its timing, the advisory is more reflective of heightened concern over U.S.-China academic relations rather than a direct warning against studying abroad, explained Mingzi Sang, director at the Beijing Overseas Study Service Association, BOSA. On the same day, China's Ministry of Culture and Tourism also advised citizens to reconsider travel to the U.S., citing a deteriorating security climate and deepening trade tensions that have strained diplomatic ties. David Weeks, CEO of the global education consultancy Sunrise International, noted that the tone of the advisory was relatively balanced. This appears to be more of a diplomatic message than an outright deterrent, he said. It doesn't tell students to avoid Ohio, nor does it direct Chinese institutions to cut ties. The Ohio legislation, signed into law on March 28, also eliminates diversity and inclusion programs and outlaws faculty strikes at public universities, sparking widespread opposition from faculty, students, and progressive lawmakers. While more moderate than recent laws in Texas or Florida, it still places notable restrictions on international collaboration, particularly with Chinese entities. Experts suggest that Chinese families are already well-versed in researching safety and educational standards across various states. Most are doing their due diligence regardless, said Weeks, who added that the advisory's practical effects may be limited. Nevertheless, Sang noted that the cumulative effect of political uncertainty and trade-related friction is already reshaping student mobility patterns. We're seeing increased interest in destinations like the UK and Australia, he said. A recent report on Chinese international education trends in 2025 highlights the UK as the top preferred destination, as students and their families diversify options to hedge against political risk. Grace Zhu, China branch manager at education research firm Bonid, urged students to keep options open. With ongoing uncertainty, it's wise for students to apply to universities across different regions to minimize disruption risk, she said. While the broader implications of U.S.-China tensions remain unclear, observers point out that Chinese state media has yet to adopt a fully critical stance toward the U.S., leaving room for public sentiment to evolve. Looking ahead, economic pressures at home could influence outbound student numbers. However, Weeks predicted that once China's economy rebounds, families may prioritize elite institutions abroad over budget alternatives. Despite setbacks, including nearly 1,000 international visa revocations under the Trump administration, student interest in the U.S. has shown some resilience. While F-1 visa issuance to Chinese students dipped slightly over the past year, down just over 5%, more than 1,100 were granted in February 2025 alone, according to U.S. State Department figures. Even as tensions persist, the long-standing educational ties between China and the U.S. continue to endure for now.